Hello and welcome to today's lesson, in which we're going to be talking about parts of speech. The parts of speech are commonly known as word categories, or you can call them word classes. Now, in this particular lesson, we're going to look at the parts of speech in summary. We are not going to look at all of them in great details because of the limitations of time with respect to posting this video. So let's get started. So this is, as we've said earlier on, is just a summary of the word classes, but we will be posting videos on the detailed context of each of the word classes. So we started with nouns. So nouns are naming words or phrases. A noun is either a naming word or a group of words that is a phrase functioning as a name of something. So, for example, we can have a word like pen. That's a word. We can have a whole phrase like the cow shed. So all of this qualifies to be called a noun phrase, right? So therefore here it's either one word or a whole phrase. Yet you still have some nouns which are formed by a combination of more than one word. Like, for example, when you say brother-in-law. Okay, so therefore a noun can either be a naming word or a phrase. Let's move on. The next category is the articles. Now, what are articles? Articles are words used to modify nouns or phrases by way of being determiners. We are talking about determiners in this context. We want to get to highlighting the main points here. So, a determiner that defines whether the noun you are referring to is known or unknown is said to be called an article. For example, you can say a boy. So that a is an article, as opposed to saying the boy. The here is an article. The difference between these two is that in case one, we do not know the boy by name or maybe by background, whatever. In case two, we know the boy, maybe we even know the name, we even met the boy, so we're talking about something that we know, a person that we know. Now, in case a noun starts with a vowel sound, we can adopt the third article, which is n. You can say an elephant. Take note, there's a difference between saying an elephant and the elephant. When you say the elephant, it means either we've mentioned it in case sentence 1, or we are talking about an elephant, we actually a specific one that we know about. But an elephant means we don't know that particular elephant in individual details. Okay, I'll get a clean board here so that we got the next word class number 3. Word class number 3, we're going to be talking about, of course, the pronouns. Now, a pronoun is a word that we use to replace a noun in a sentence. A pronoun is used to replace a noun in a sentence, mostly to avoid repetition. Let's look at examples of pronouns in this case. So we have a pronoun like he to represent the male gender, she for the female gender. Now, if you're constructing a sentence either in written or spoken English, maybe I've said Jane gave me a book. Okay, I'm writing with a funny pen here. Jane gave me a book. Let me put a full stop there. If I'm still continuing to talk about Jane, I can say she told me to look after the book. She told me to cover it. She told me to cover it. Let's look at that. So there is also it here, the pronoun. It here has been used in place of book, and she here has been used in place of Jane. Okay, now therefore we say words used in place of nouns in that way, they are actually called the pronouns. So move on to the next one, class. When I clean that board a bit, remove the distractors here so that you can get it loud and clear. Okay, so the next are adjectives. What is an adjective? Some people call them epithets, but that is a bit high sounding and looks a little bit boastful, so to say. But it's okay, you can even say an epithet, okay, to refer to an adjective, but sounds far-fetched anyway. So words that describe nouns are said to be adjectives. Now, an adjective can describe a noun, or it can also describe another adjective, or it can describe even an adverb. Okay, we're going to see in a sentence. First, let's look at examples of adjectives. We have adjectives that describe color, e.g. blue. Adjectives that describe length, e.g. tall, maybe short. Okay, these are adjectives that probably talk about length. So we can even have adjectives that describe age, like maybe old, young. So all these are adjectives. The list is endless, you know. So these are adjectives. Maybe we should see examples in a sentence. Sentence examples where we can see how adjectives impact a noun. They usually make a sentence more meaningful. They add more details to the noun you're talking about. Let's see, for example, if I say, I saw a dog. I saw a dog. And somebody says, I saw a black dog. See, we have black, the adjective here, modifying dog, the noun. Okay, as opposed to saying I just saw a dog. This is just a dog. It's a black dog. Somebody could still say I saw a scary black dog. So the dog here was not only black but also scary, you know. So you find that the sentence gets more information, and therefore you are able to connect with the situation. Now we go to the next one, class. I don't know whether I'll have to split this session into 2 videos. Now let's imagine we'll finish the summary of all of them. These are just shallow details. If you needed to go into deeper details, maybe one class would just take us the whole session, or even 2 sessions. Okay, but now we are just looking at the minor details so that you can grasp them in summary. So we look at the next one, class. We look at verbs. What are verbs? Verbs are words that express actions or a state. So a verb could express either an action or a state. Now we have to look at a situation in which a verb has expressed a state, another situation in which a verb has expressed an action. For example, if you say, she has come, she has come, we have the verb come there, as opposed to saying she is sick. Okay, you see here sick expresses just a status, so therefore it's a status verb. Okay, and when a word is used to express an action, the action is usually with reference to a particular time period. Okay, and that's what qualifies it to be called an active verb in a sentence. Now the next word, class, as you can see, is the adverbs. These ones are words that modify verbs. For example, you can get a word like quickly, simple ones. word like fast, a word like carelessly. You realize most of the adverbs end in ly, but be very careful. Not everything that ends in ly is actually an adverb. We do have situations where an adjective has actually been ended with a ly, and yet it's actually an adjective. So therefore, we're going to now focus on a sentence case. A sentence case. Okay, let's get a clean board here a bit. I'm gonna clean that. So then we look at a typical sentence case involving an adverb. Okay, let's get down to it. So in a sentence, for example, they walked sluggishly. They walked sluggishly. That's an adverb modifying walked sluggishly, right? So the verb walked, they were walking sluggishly, and you can even add more to it and say that morning. So again, that morning becomes sort of a complement in form of an adverbial phrase. Okay, we're going to have to stop here for now. So we'll have part 2 of word classes, in which we shall discuss the prepositions, the conjunctions, and the interjections in a separate lesson. Otherwise, bye for now. We look at these ones later on. So why don't you attempt a simple assignment? I want you to pick that textbook you're using from your English course. You can just pick any paragraph at random and then attempt classifying those words that have been used there. Bye for now. See you in the next video, and remember to comment, drop a comment, a suggestion there in the comment section. Yeah, tell us where you have watched this video from, which school you are, and you can also suggest the content that you wish we should post as far as English is concerned. Bye, and enjoy yourself.